You've taken Birmingham by storm. Went to your concert last night and everybody's going crazy. But you ended your concert with rock and roll. I mean, you went back to your roots. Is this the direction you're going to go in? Are you turning back again?
No, certainly not. I did it because, I mean, there is a great demand for nostalgia, although I like to keep nostalgia very much in its place. I'm more concerned with creating tomorrow's nostalgia, really. I'm hoping that in 10 years' time, people are going to be saying, Devil Woman, Miss You Nights, you know? So, but I thought this year, well, let's do something different. I've got nothing personal against nostalgia, so we thought we'd do a show where the second half would be nothing but old material. And, but we do it very much in today's fashion.
I mean, it was really going something. And it ended with the Jerry Lee Lewis thing and smoke on the stage. And
you can't really get involved in that sort of rock and roll without giving it you know 100%. It sort of sucks it out of you somehow. And of course, audiences, it's amazing, but audiences react to that music so fantastically. It takes me back, I mean, 23 years instantly. I know that they're not screaming quite as much as they used to, but the excitement is still there. And in a way, it's much better than having an audience screaming because they don't ever applaud or join in. They're too busy doing their own thing, I suppose. But it's great fun doing it, I must say.
Right.
I've really enjoyed doing it.
With us today, we've got Patrick Doncaster and Tony Jasper. You've just written this book on Cliff Richard, going back right through the life of Cliff. But basically, reading it myself, I find that it's like a load of newspaper cuttings, isn't it? You don't really get to the inside of Cliff Richard. It's just facts.
Well, he is a star. He's had endless hit records, and we've just tracked what, to us anyway, is 23 years of a guy who's been at the top and continues at the top. We did masses and masses of interviews. We interviewed all the early people in his career, the managers, the agents, the artists. We talked to singers and people along his way, people who fancied him at one time or another.
I think, Patrick, the amount of research that you've done, it does seem to be this particular facts of what Cliff did at a certain time, and not so much of what people felt about Cliff and what Cliff felt about.
Well, I did the early narrative, and I think, you know, one is enclosed by that. And I spoke to as many people who were available as possible. For instance, two of the main characters were no longer with us, Leslie Grade and Norrie Paramore, who guarded Cliff for years. But
certainly anybody
as many
that wants
survivors
to know,
as possible.
Anybody that wants to know any facts about Cliff is definitely in this
I mean, the
book.
book doesn't follow year by year. I mean, it does take specific subjects and themes, like, you know, Cliff overseas, Cliff and the fans, Cliff and his music. Yeah.
Yes, it didn't actually, the book doesn't really set out to necessarily say, look, this is the inside of. It is, there are facts in there that even I didn't know. But I mean, no, it's true. I mean, I've read up things like, or things I've forgotten. I mean, they've got, like, if anybody's interested, you can find out everything I've ever been involved in, really.
Well, I spent ages going through his diaries, and I've listed all the films, all the songs he sang on the film shows, the TV shows, all the radio shows, all his Christian events, the places where he went to, the people he was with.
I mean, I can't even remember writing a song that I'm credited to have written with Jet Harrison.
Marvellous song.
Yeah, and I can't even remember the song.
Let's go away from the book slightly now. About newspapers are always writing things about you. There's always criticism of your stage. How do you feel about the press knocking you? And
I feel, you know, a lot of us have taken our responsibilities fairly and squarely on our shoulders. I have, as far as my career is concerned. And it seems to me that one area that's so vital is journalism. And I don't think they've even begun to take the responsibility fairly and squarely. They tell lies all the time, and one of the main ways they tell lies is by, for instance, making out that you've said something, for instance, as a statement. Whereas politicians make statements, the police make statements, the Queen makes a statement, but usually pop singers answer questions. So that, for instance, Linda Lee Potter wrote something the other day. She said, I won't even bother about telling you what the statement was about, but I found it distasteful in that she said, why does he need to make these statements, you know? Why don't you grow up or something and get on with doing... And I thought to myself, wait a minute, Linda Lee Potter, you're a journalist. You know full well that we don't make statements. We only answer questions. In other words, you tell a lie if it looks as though I came out and said some great statement. That's a lie if it's not true. And it usually is not true, because I don't make statements, I only answer questions. And then the press get right up my nose and everyone else's nose. Because there's always an angle. Why don't they just do it the way it is? Why don't they just say, you know, what we say? And I could go on for ages, but most people can, because most of us have been manhandled by the press at some time or other. And the interesting thing is that the public now say things like, is it really true? Because you've got to take it with a pinch of salt. Surely journalism's down the drain if the public can't even take it for a fact. And if they can't even get things right about what stupid little things that stupid little pop singers say, how can we possibly believe what they say the Queen says or the Prime Minister says? I mean, I find it quite frightening.
We're actually right out of time now, Cliff. We go straight into your new record, Daddy's Home. Let's listen to it now, okay?
I thought it was a long interview.
In your eyes,